Hey there, welcome everybody to the Week 12 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We are awaiting perhaps the presence of Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him back with us tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. Week 12 of the NFL season started last night. Thursday Night Football, Amazon Prime Video. A game that on paper was supposed to be, well, a bit on the dud side. But oh no, this was anything but. It was the Pittsburgh Steelers squaring off against the Cleveland Browns. Originally, this was slated as our number 4 game of the week, but after a recent development, we dropped it down to number 5. And oh my goodness, what a game we saw. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns, Huntington Bank Field, Cleveland, Ohio. And for the first time in 2024, much to the delight of myself, we had a snow game. It snowed. The first few quarters, well, you couldn't tell. But then as the third quarter into the fourth, it turned into a winter wonderland. And at the end of the night, the Cleveland Browns pulled the major upset. They upset the Pittsburgh Steelers 24-19. The Browns improved to 3-8 on the season. The Steelers dropped to 8-3. And it definitely opens the door for the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC North. The Cleveland Browns will next be on Monday Night Football on December the 2nd. And they will be squaring off against the Denver Broncos from Empower Field in Denver. Whereas the Pittsburgh Steelers, next time we see them, will be on December 1. And they have to go on the road again against the Cincinnati Bengals. And that is by no means a give me either. So with all that, let's crunch the numbers here. For the Cleveland Browns, Jameis Winston, 18 of 27, 219 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Nick Chubb, 2 rushing touchdowns, 20 carries, 59 yards. Jameis Winston, a rushing touchdown. Jerry Jeudy was the leading receiver, 6 catches for 85 yards. Myles Garrett had himself a night last night. 3 sacks alone for Myles Garrett. And then Hicks added 1 other. So a total of 4 sacks for the Brown defense. 3 of them by Myles Garrett, 1 by Hicks, and that's pretty much it on the defensive side for Cleveland. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, Russell Wilson, 21 of 28, 270 yards, a touchdown, no picks. Justin Fields, 0 for 1, and that's it. Jalen Warren, rushing touchdown, 11 carries, 45 yards. Najee Harris added 41 more on 16 carries. Calvin Austin, 3 catches, 78 yards, and a touchdown for him. Steeler defense, Herbig had a sack. Jackson had an interception. And that is that. So, huge win for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, yes, their season has been a dud, 3-8. But 2 of those 3 wins have come against the likes of the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Can you believe that? That is something. The other one was in Jacksonville earlier in the year, but to have, despite being only 3-8, but to have 2 of your wins against the two of the best teams in the AFC, let alone your division, in the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers, both at home, that's monumental for them. And they definitely will have some momentum going into that Monday night game in Denver on December 2nd. But big win for Cleveland. This definitely will boost their morale. Whereas for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I hate to say it, I'll be honest, I think they got a little too big for their britches. I mean, coming off that monumental win of their own, when they beat Baltimore in Pittsburgh this past Sunday, I think they got too big for their britches. That's what I think. I think they went into Cleveland thinking, oh yeah, we got all the momentum. We're gonna smash these guys. They suck. Whatever. Yeah, nobody told the Cleveland Browns that. No. And And now Pittsburgh's got to go on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals. And you know Cincinnati's going to give them hell. You already know that. And that is not going to be an easy game for Pittsburgh at all. So that'll be on December 1. So, but a great win for Cleveland, an amazing scene. And you ask MF and anybody who knows me, they know how much I love cold weather snow games. And last night was a dream come true for me. And I was so happy. And I can't tell you how much I enjoyed that game last night. And to see that sight, especially late third quarter into the fourth, I mean, that was wow. So don't worry, there will be more down the road, including a possibility of a snow game on Thanksgiving night. Early forecast, but nonetheless, great win for Cleveland. Pittsburgh will be fine. So that's all there is to say on that. So MF, man, the snow was one thing, but the Cleveland Browns upsetting the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, they're 3-8, but to have two of those wins against Baltimore and Pittsburgh, wow, that's impressive.
It is very impressive. And, at the end of the day, Cleveland won the game. Pittsburgh, they fell early, came back, took the lead, and it looked like they were well on their way. But Cleveland just was not going to be denied. And once we got to the very end of the game, there were some key moments there that, Cleveland made the right plays, they made the right decisions, and at the end, they won the game. So, yeah, this was a huge, huge, huge win for them. There's really nothing more to add on that one. And Anthony, I give it right back to you.
Okay, MF. And with that, let's get into the rest of week 12. But before we do, let's address who's on bye for this week. 6 teams on bye this week, and they are as follows: the Atlanta Falcons, my Buffalo Bills, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the New Orleans Saints, and the New York Jets. Those are the 6 teams you will not see in action this week. We'll get back to them next week. But for right now, let's get into the first of our 7 early games, our 7 1 o'clock matchups. This game originally was slated to be our number 2 game, believe it or not, but dropped down to 3 because of our last minute decision that we made last night. This is our number 3 game of the week, and I'm going to be honest with you folks. The scheduling gods did not smile on us. They really did not, with the exception of our top 2 games of the week. Every other game, in all honesty. But this one is our number 3. It's our now number 3, down from originally 2. We got the Kansas City Chiefs squaring off against the Carolina Panthers from Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. Iron Eagle, Charles Davis, Evan Washburn will have the call for CBS. And Kansas City opening up as an 11-point favorite. And Kansas City leads the all-time series 5-2. Last meeting was 2020 in Kansas City. Kansas City won a wild one, 33-31. The Panthers have only won in Kansas City once, and that was back in 2004. Carolina winning in Kansas City 28-17. The last time they beat them overall was 2008 in Charlotte, 34-0. So with that, let's dive on in. The 9-1 Chiefs enter this coming off their first loss of the season, 30-21 against my Buffalo Bills last week. So it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back. Perhaps especially quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes' season-long numbers have been a bit down, but Kansas City was still able to find ways to win before last week. The showing he put up last week, 23 of 33, 196 yards, 3 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions, certainly was disappointing, though. Meanwhile, the Panthers are just 3-7 on the season. They have won their last 2 games. Granted, those wins came against 2 struggling teams in the New York Giants and the New Orleans Saints. But this still represented a step up for them. A big question is still sophomore quarterback Bryce Young, who's set to start for his 4th straight game, but has thrown for just 224, 174, and 126 in those last 3 games and has Carolina still making their starting quarterback decision week by week. The Panthers are 11-point underdogs here, so this may not wind up being much of a game. Just bear with me as this comes up. All right. So very far down. Okay. The Chiefs have played excellent run defense all season and are third in yards allowed per carry at 3.6 and per game 85.3. But they get a difficult test against the Panthers' Chuba Hubbard, who has 3 100-yard games and a healthy 5.1 yard per carry average this season. Can the Panthers shorten the game by successfully running on the Chiefs? The Panthers are getting healthy defensively, particularly with the addition of outside linebacker DJ Wanham, who adds a new dimension to their much-needed pass rush. A strong running game has kept Carolina close enough to win its last 2 games with Bryce Young at quarterback. But the Chiefs have the third best run defense in the NFL, and this might force Young to make more plays. Young has led the Panthers to 2 straight wins, throwing for 297 yards and a touchdown. Another win for the Panthers would tie their longest win streak over the last 5 seasons. They won 2 straight before their bye. However, Kansas City is an overwhelming FPI favorite, 77% going with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I believe the Kansas City Chiefs will bounce back. This will be a get-right game for them. They'll get back on track. Kansas City should win this one, no trouble. 34-17. Give me Kansas City over Carolina. So not much more to say. Good old MF Michael Fletcher. Originally our number 2 game of the week because of the circumstances, but dropped down to 3 after our cross-flex decision. But Kansas City, Carolina, in Charlotte. Carolina's won 2 in a row. They have a chance to go for a monumental upset of their own. But here's the thing. Kansas City, they're going to be hopping mad after they got embarrassed in Buffalo last week.
Yeah, and the thing is like you said, if it was any other team, any other situation, you would think, okay, fine, it is what it is. But when you're Kansas City, you kind of felt like, yeah, that was your worst performance of the season, and you absolutely positively did not look good at all. And now you're going up against a really good team. This has the makings of big trouble, more than anything else. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, I'm in total agreement with you on this one. I think Kansas City is out for blood now, and they're out to hammer Carolina. So I think this is not even going to be close. So yeah, give me Kansas City to win this one and win this one going away. So Floria, what's yours?
Well, we got a third guest who just joined us here. Michael Bullock has entered. So Bullock, come on in. You didn't miss much. Just want to get a quick thought from you on last night's Cleveland Browns upset of the Pittsburgh Steelers in the snow in Cleveland, 24-19. And this is just our first game that we just did. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Carolina Panthers. So Bullock, it's all yours.
Yeah, and what's the one thing I always say? A team that's dangerous is a team that's got nothing to lose. Cleveland, they got nothing to lose. This was their chance to basically to make a statement of their own, and they did against a good Pittsburgh Steelers team and in the snow. And yeah, they definitely surprised a lot of people. And I still think Pittsburgh will make the playoffs, but if for some reason, guys, if they were to struggle and miss the playoffs, wouldn't you guys agree that they're going to look back at this game as the one that got away from them?
Certainly.
I agree for the most part, yes.
I mean, we still got a long way to go. We don't know what's going to happen, but if they miss the playoffs by just one game, they're going to look back at this game and we should have won this game. We should have handled our business. And we didn't. And I'm sure Mike Tomlin's probably hammering that home with his team right now. So we'll see how this team responds the rest of the season.
And their next game is next Sunday, December the 1st, at the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Bengals are not going to go easy on them.
Yeah, and especially with the history with those two. Oh
yeah.
It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a war. And yeah, so we'll see what happens. This game will test the Pittsburgh Steelers to see if they can bounce back from something like this against one of the greatest rivals in the Cincinnati Bengals.
And now let's get into your prediction.
Because we know the history with these two teams. All you got to do is look back at the 2015 wild card game.
Vontez perfect.
To say that there's bad blood between these two is an understatement. So, nothing more to say. So, as far as my thoughts on Kansas City and Carolina, yes, I got Kansas City bouncing back, and this is going to be a get-right game for them. And, I mean, they found ways to win until last week when Buffalo beat them. And, yeah, I think this is the game it's going to be this get-right game for them. So, I got Kansas City winning. So, let's move on to our next game.
Okay. And MF, you will you'll start this off, and we move on now to a Fox game now. NFC North Division matchup. The Minnesota Vikings squaring off against the Chicago Bears, Soldier Field in Chicago. And on the call for that game, it will be Kevin Kugler, Daryl Moose Johnston, and Laura Oakman. And the spread favors, I believe it favors, I want to say it favors Minnesota. And yes, it does. It favors Minnesota. Minnesota opening up as a 3.5 point favorite. And I'm checking to see if this is their first meeting or their second. It's their first. Okay. This is their first. Okay. So don't have to do too much digging there. So, all right. So first meeting between these NFC North Division rivals, and the series history favors Minnesota. Regular season wise, it's 66-57 with 2 ties. Last year, both teams split and both teams won on the road. So Minnesota won in Chicago last year, 1913. Matter of fact, they've actually won the last 4 years. Minnesota has won in Chicago. The Bears have not beaten the Vikings at home since 2019, and that was a 16-6 final. Not much more to say, MF. We got the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears. Oh, the Chicago Bears. I'm going to be honest with you. They have not been the same since they let that game get away in Washington on that infamous Hail Mary.
Yeah, absolutely. And Minnesota's just look, Minnesota was gangbusters early in the season. They've kind of cooled off a little bit. I'm not saying that they're in deep trouble, but they have cooled. They did cool off a little bit. They are 8-2 right now, so they're looking pretty sharp. But the thing is, can they turn it around? Can they put it together? Can they find the right, antidote to get the victory on Sunday? It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be tough to watch. But I will say this. Like you said, Anthony, the way that they've been playing has been a lot better, a lot more sharper. I just feel like Minnesota's the better team, and I think they're going to get the job done. So give me the Minnesota Vikings to win this game. Nothing more to add. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Minnesota Vikings to win this game as well. I mean, yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say. Fletch pretty much said what he said, so it's yours, Florio.
Okay. This NFC North clash has 2 teams in different positions, with the Vikings entering at 8-2 and the Bears just 4-6. But Minnesota is only a 3.5-point road favorite here. And while the Vikings have won 3 straight, none of those wins have been overwhelming. Meanwhile, one of the better Chicago performances in a while was a 1-point loss against the Green Bay Packers last week. So they're maybe trending up a bit. Don't expect a ton of scoring in this one, as both teams are in the top 10 in points allowed. Minnesota has given up 17 points a game, 4th best, while Chicago has allowed 18.7, 7th best. But a big difference with these squads' success to date has been the offense. Sam Darnold has thrown for 2,387 yards and 19 touchdowns with 10 interceptions, albeit 5 over the last 2 weeks. And a 60th rookie quarterback, Caleb Williams, has thrown for just 2,016 yards and 9 touchdowns with 5 interceptions and an almost 62% completion mark. It helps that Minnesota has Justin Jefferson, whose 912 receiving yards are almost double the 479 from Chicago leading receiver Romeo Dunze, but their passing offense has been more successful overall. We'll see how that quarterback battle plays out on Sunday afternoon. The Vikings are 8-4 on grass surfaces under their coach Kevin O'Connell since the start of the 2022 season, including 2-0 at Soldier Field. That is a decided departure from the franchise's history after it moved indoors to the Metrodome in 1982 and later US Bank Stadium in 2016. During those 4 decades, the team had a .402 winning percentage on grass and .586 on artificial surfaces. The Bears are in the midst of a 4-game losing streak with the toughest remaining strength of schedule in the NFL, according to ESPN research. After switching offensive coordinators from Shane Waldron to Thomas Brown last week, Chicago notched its highest point total since week 6 in a 20-19 loss to Green Bay. The Bears are averaging 11.5 points a game during this losing streak, which is the fewest points a game in the NFL in that span since week 8. Coach Matt Eberflus's 2-11 record against NFC North opponents is the worst in the league since he was hired in 2022. Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold has had multiple turnovers in 4 games this season, yet Minnesota is undefeated in those games. It's not an overwhelming FPI favorite, but they do give it to Minnesota. 57% going with the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings to win as well. I'm going to say 24-16. Minnesota defeats Chicago on Sunday. And we move on to another divisional matchup. This one back on our side of the ledger. This is in the AFC South, and it will feature the Tennessee Titans squaring off against the Houston Texans, NRG Stadium in Houston. And if my memory serves me correctly, I do believe this game is our number 6 game of the week. Yes, this is our number 6 game of the week now. Tennessee and Houston, NRG Stadium on the mothership on CBS, and their first meeting of the season. Oh, by the way, on the call for this game will be Tom McCarthy, Jay Feely, Ross Tucker, and Amanda Balionis. And the spread favors Houston opening up as a 7.5 point favorite in favor of the Texans. And the series in the series history, Tennessee leads it, but 23-21. So it's 23-21. Tennessee leads. Houston, however, has won the last 3 meetings in this series, including a 26-3 beatdown in Houston last year. Tennessee's last win in Houston was only the year before, 2022. 17-10. So, Michael Bullock, let's start it off with you here. The Tennessee Titans and the Houston Texans are number 6 game of the week. And Houston, they got back on track. Oh, boy, in a big way. They smashed the Dallas Cowboys 34-10 this past Monday night in a much-needed get-right game after they let the Detroit Lions game get away from them.
Yeah, Houston really needed that win. They did it in a big way, especially after they they let one get away. I mean, especially after the way that defense played, where they forced how many interceptions on? I think it was of Jared Goff. I think it was 5, right?
It was 5, yes.
I mean, that had to leave a bitter taste in the mouth for the Houston Texans. I mean, you pick off Jared Goff 5 times, and yet you don't win that game. That had to stick with them for over a week, and they took it out on the Dallas Cowboys in a big way. So, yeah, they got back on track, and I expect this to continue. So, I got the Houston Texans being the Tennessee Titans. So, it's yours, Florio.
Yes, indeed. And this one's a little further down. Okay, here we go. I think I got it. Okay. Texans defensive lineman Danico Autry faces his former team for the first time this week. After posting 3 sacks in 5 games, Autry, an 11-year veteran, will face Titans right tackle Nicholas Petit-Ferrer, who has allowed 6 sacks. This matchup is a huge advantage for Houston, especially in 3rd and long situations. Titans coach Brian Callahan said it's almost miraculous he can still do it at his age, the way he does it, as a physical edge setter that can rush. Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud has averaged 259 passing yards a game in his career, but the Titans are allowing the fewest passing yards a game in the league this season at just north of 165. So 2 strengths will collide. Texans coach D'Amico Ryans pointed out how the Titans' third down defense does a really good job of playing tight coverage. Tennessee has allowed the 3rd lowest conversion rate, 32.5% on defense. So if the Texans want to get Stroud going, winning on the key downs is important. The Titans have a 14% chance for the number 1 pick in the 2025 NFL draft per ESPN Analytics. Their chances improve to 19% with a loss and fall to 5% if they should somehow win. Overwhelming FPI for Houston, 71% going with the Houston Texans in this one. But I've noticed that I've had a tendency to announce that I couldn't help but notice that Tennessee has a tendency to be a scrappy team, and they hang with you until the very end. And I wouldn't be surprised if they take Houston to the wire. But I do have the Houston Texans winning this game 23-16. I got the Houston Texans defeating the Tennessee Titans. So not much more to say. MF, Tennessee and Houston, your thoughts on our number 6 game of the week?
Yeah, I kind of feel like you're right in a sense. Tennessee is a scrappy team. I think they're going to really give Houston a lot of fits. But I believe Houston will get the job done and they should win this game. So really nothing more to add. So next game.
Okay. And next up on the docket, I'm going to be honest with you. The other side of the ledger, they have the far better games this week. And this is one of them. This game will be over on Fox. And it will feature, well, speaking of the Detroit Lions, here they are. The Detroit Lions squaring off against the Indianapolis Colts. Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. You can find this game on Fox, and it will be Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, and Megan O'Leary. They will be on the call for that game. And Detroit opens up as a 7.5-point favorite. Can't say I'm surprised with that. And, sorry, it just froze on me for a moment. Okay, here we go. And the series history between these two favors Indianapolis. Indianapolis leads the all-time series 22-19 with 2 ties. And the last time they met in 2020, Indianapolis won in Detroit 41-21. Last meeting in Indianapolis was 2016, and Detroit won that game 39-35 in a shootout. Indianapolis last beat Detroit at home back in 2008. They won that one 31-21. So with that being said, let's dive into this. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to call this a sleeper game of the week, because this is a sleeper matchup here. So here we go. Despite being the favorites to win this week, the Lions are not taking this game against the Colts lightly, nor should they. Detroit is riding an 8-game winning streak, and is the NFL's lone team with an undefeated road record. They're 5-0 on the road. But Lions coach Dan Campbell is not allowing his squad to buy into the hype. He said, and I quote, "We're not the underdogs, but we have certain standards of the way we approach things, the way that we prepare for games, and as long as we do that, you will continue to be a tough team to beat, and that's important. One strategy for beating a team with a high-powered offense like the Lions is to win the time of possession battle, thereby limiting the opponent's possessions. But the Colts have not proven they can do this. The Colts rank 31st in time of possession at their 31st in time of possession at 26 minutes and 40 seconds a game. That has been detrimental for their defense because the unit has played too many snaps. Indianapolis is second in the league in defensive snaps, averaging almost 67 a game. The Lions have 4 games this season with more touchdowns than incompletions. That is the most such games in a season by any team since 1933. Another overwhelming FPI, 73% going with the Detroit Lions to win this game. And I am most assuredly going with the Detroit Lions to win this game as well. I'm going to say final score here. I'm going to go 40-24. 40-24. The 40-24, the Detroit Lions to defeat the Indianapolis Colts. And we have a comment here, folks. I don't get comments often on my channel, but here's an interesting comment. Do we have a thought on this, gentlemen?
Can I see?
I'm showing it. Can you guys see it?
All right. Come at me all you want, but I know the Cards are the second best team in the NFC after the Lions.
We'll talk about the Cardinals in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Cardinals when we get to them.
They have a big game. They do have a tough game coming up, though.
I will say this. The Cardinals have overachieved over what the experts had early in the year. I think they've overachieved. Kyler Murray's done really well. James Conner is somebody that I love as far as a wide receiver, as far as a running back goes. And I do believe Marvin Harrison Jr. should be the rookie of the year. I will give you that, my friend. As far as beyond that, like we said, we'll give you our honest opinion about your Cardinals in a little bit.
But for right now, we're talking about the Detroit Lions against the Indianapolis Colts. I have the Lions winning. My final score, 40-24. I got Detroit winning. So, MF, let's get your thoughts. Detroit and Indianapolis, interesting matchup here. I'll go as far as to call it the sleeper game of the week.
It is a sleeper game of the week. It's definitely going to be an interesting matchup. The way I feel like the way that this should go, we'll see how it plays out. But I do believe Detroit should win this game. But we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting night. So nothing more to say. Floria, Bullock, it's yours.
Yep. You're on board.
Oh, it's my. I wasn't quite sure if Fletch was done.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done.
Okay. Yeah,
yep, you're good.
I got the Detroit Lions winning this one as well. I mean, I think this definitely could be the sleeper game of the week, but hey, the Colts could be in it for a little while, but I think at the end, Detroit is going to pull away big time on this one. So give me the Detroit Lions to win. Let's move on, Florio.
All right, gentlemen, here you go. This is your game here. This originally was our number 3 game of the week, but it's been bumped down to number 4 because of our cross flex. So here we go. It's Buddy Bowl time. Michael Bullock's New England Patriots squaring off against good old MF Michael Fletch's Miami Dolphins for the second time this season. Hard Rock Stadium, Miami, Florida, on CBS. And on the call for that game will be Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta, and Aditi Kinkabuela. Miami opening up as a 7.5-point favorite. And like I said, this is their second meeting this season. They met back on October the 6th in Foxborough, and the Miami Dolphins stole one in Foxborough in a very ugly game, and I do mean ugly. 15-10 was the final in favor of the Miami Dolphins. So it definitely changes the overall series lead here. Actually, Miami added to their series lead regular season wise. It's now 62-53 in favor of the Miami Dolphins. That makes 3 straight wins for the Dolphins against the Patriots. Last year in Miami, the Miami Dolphins defeated the New England Patriots by a score of 31-17. And good news for MF, the Miami Dolphins have actually won 4 straight years at home against the Patriots. The Patriots have not won in Miami since the Patriots smashed the Dolphins 43-0 all the way back in 2019. So there's not much more to say here. MF, it's only fitting that you started off. It's Buddy Bowl time. The New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins are number 4 game of the week. And with everything going on, with how Miami's gotten so much better ever since Tua came back, it's not going to be an ugly game like it was in Foxborough. I expect this to be a more competitive and better game than the first time.
Yeah, Drake May has proven that he definitely is a lot more better for the New England Patriots. With Tua coming back, Miami's been averaging over 21 points since Tua came back from his concussion, and you can see it. The offense is humming better than they did. It looks like the old Dolphins are back, and that's bad news for everybody in the AFC because they are at literally 2 games out of the wild card. They are legitly now in wild card positioning where Miami and the schedule does get a little easier for the Dolphins towards the end. So all of a sudden, what looked like doom and gloom for the Dolphins and maybe a lost season, maybe it might have been salvaged. We don't know. We'll see. I gotta say is that if this thing turns into a track meet, Miami would easily beat New England. I just feel like the Patriots plays really good, but there's something missing at the end. If Miami's defense plays like they've been playing lately, and they're getting better, their defense is getting better, but offensively, Tua just gotta keep clean, stay on what he needs to do, give the ball to Devon Achane. Achane's been averaging almost 100 yards total. 50 on the ground, a little bit from the air. If Tyreek gets going, that might be a bad news for New England. If Waddle gets going, that's bad news for New England. Hey, we've seen a few sightings of Odell Beckham Jr. He's been making a couple of key plays here and there lately, and that's been great for Miami. But the one guy who's really been shining lately, especially the last 2 weeks, Jonnu Smith, the tight end for the Miami Dolphins, last week, 109 yards receiving, including a 57-yarder for the touchdown. If he gets going, it's going to be a bloodbath for the New England Patriots. And that's what I do believe it's going to be. Yes, I hear the rumors about, it's going to be close. It's going to be close. Nah, I'm not thinking it. 30-13, the Miami Dolphins beats the New England Patriots and gets one step closer to that wild card. So nothing more to say, Bullock. We all do respect. I just don't see New England hanging with Miami, especially if this is the Dolphin team that we're getting now. They're peaking at the right time if you're a Dolphin fan. Bad news for New England.
Yeah, if this Dolphins team is back to being the team that they are offensively, and then what they can do defensively, yeah, it's going to be a long, long afternoon for the Patriots. So, yeah, I'm with you. With everything starting to come together for Miami, they could be a threat in the AFC. They could be I mean, yeah, they could definitely be a threat. I mean, if they go on this run, look out. So, Dolphins win, and I'm with Fletch. This isn't going to even be close. I mean, as much as I want to see a close game, with the way the Dolphins are clicking offensively, and if they can, what they can do defensively, they put it all together. Yeah, it's going to be a long afternoon. So Miami wins. It's yours, Florio.
The Patriots defense has forced only one turnover in its last 5 games. New England's -6 turnover differential is tied for 26th in the NFL, and finding a way to disrupt Dolphin quarterback Tua Tagovailoa and the rhythm of the Dolphins passing game will be key. The Dolphins, -2 on the season, are coming off a turnover-free game in a win over the Las Vegas Raiders. Sunday's matchup will feature 2 of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL over the last month. Since Week 6, Patriots quarterback Drake May owns the lowest off-target throw percentage in the league at 9.2%, and right behind him is Tua Tagovailoa at 9.4%. Both players are also completing passes at a higher rate than expected, as both Tagovailoa at 4.9% and May at 3% rank in the top 10 in completion percentage over expectation. And MF, pay attention to this next stat here. The Dolphins have a 14.6% chance to make the playoffs, according to ESPN Analytics. Those chances increase to 18.9% with a win, but they will drop to 5.9% somehow, some way if they somehow lose. FPI, good one for Miami, 68%. That's 68% going with the Miami Dolphins. I'm going with the Miami Dolphins as well. But I'm going to be honest with you. New England has a tendency to like the Tennessee Titans, to be a scrappy team as well. And I think they could actually be a scrappy team. I think they could give the Dolphins some fits. But I do think the Miami Dolphins will eventually win this one. 28-21. I'm going with the Miami Dolphins to defeat the New England Patriots. Next up, it's our Zonk game of the week on our side of the ledger. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers squaring off against the New York Giants, MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey in the Meadowlands. On CBS, we got Andrew Catalon, Tiki Barber, Jason McCourty, and AJ Ross. It'll be a bit of a homecoming for Tiki Barber. All those great years he had with the Giants, of course. Tampa Bay is opening up as a 6-point favorite. The Giants lead the all-time series, regular season-wise, 15-9. Last meeting was 2021 in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay won 30-10. Last meeting in New York was 2020. Tampa Bay won 25-23. The Giants last beat the Bucs at home in 2018. Final score in that one was 38-35. So, Michael Bullock, let's start it off with you here. Our Zonk game of the week, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New York Giants. Your thoughts?
And of course, the big story coming out of this, boys, of course, it's a new era for the Giants, as
Daniel
the Daniel
Jones is
Jones
out.
era is done.
Daniel Jones was released, and taking his place, MF's boy, the Gabagool, Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, and I mean, I can honestly say this, guys. Daniel Jones only had one good season, and that was the year the Giants made the playoffs, and I think it was 2022. Am I correct on that?
Yes, it was 22.
Yeah, they got to the divisional round, and all the other seasons, it's just been pretty much blah for him. So, do we want to call him a bust?
I mean, it's tough, but I would probably label it as a bust. But, I mean, did you hear the latest rumor? Did you hear which team is actually sniffing around about maybe grabbing him?
No, I didn't hear.
Dallas, the Cowboys. They're looking at possibly bringing him in.
Oh, Oh man, you really think Daniel Jones is going to help this Cowboys team with the way they're freaking struggling right now?
Look, here's the thing. They're playing him on Thanksgiving. Do you think he knows everything?
Yeah,
That's
but
actually a good idea.
I think the Giants know everything about him, and obviously he freaking sucks. I'll tell you that right now. I mean,
He's better than Cooper Rush. He's
yeah,
better than any quarterback right now they got on the Cowboys squad.
yeah, I'll give you that.
I mean, why the hell not? What? Take a flyer if you need to.
Well, what do they got to lose? I
Yeah,
mean,
their season's already lost. I
their
mean, what?
season's pretty much done, so might as well try something. I mean,
Yeah,
because Cooper Rush hasn't done pretty much anything,
no.
so maybe you do take a shot on him. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But yeah, it's the Tommy DeVito era now for the New York Giants. But yeah, I mean, no matter who was playing, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning this one either way. So it's yours. Excuse me, it's yours, Florio.
All right. So let me oh, this thing's all over the place again. This thing always likes to refresh on me for some odd reason. But all right. Tampa Bay and the Giants. Okay. Buccaneers center Graham Barton could not have put it any better. He said, and I quote, "The playoffs for us really start now." Coming off their bye week at 4-6, having lost 4 straight, the Buccaneers are in a similar predicament as they were last season. They were able to win 5 out of their last 6 games. Barring any setbacks, wide receiver Mike Evans and cornerback Jamel Dean should return, and that should give them a boost. While the statuses of Tristan Wirfs with an MCL sprain and Zion McCollum with a hamstring are up in the air. Tommy DeVito is the Giants' new starting quarterback in place of the now released Daniel Jones. DeVito will be trying to rediscover the magic from last season when he won 3 straight games as an undrafted free agent. He threw 8 touchdown passes to only 3 interceptions as a rookie. But DeVito also finished with a total QBR of almost 27 as a starter, which was the worst of any qualifying quarterback from weeks 10 to 16. He'll have his work cut out for him after not having any reps with the first team offense this summer and season. Excuse me. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are one of 3 teams in the Super Bowl era to average at least 27.9 points and be under 500. The other 2 teams, the 2016 New Orleans Saints and 2016 San Diego Chargers, both of those teams did not make the playoffs. The FPI likes Tampa Bay here, 69% going with the Buccaneers. I'm going with the Buccaneers to win this game as well. I'm going to say final score here. I'm going to go 26-10. Tampa Bay defeats the Giants. And they say their playoffs start now. So I think they'll start it off with a nice win here. And then we'll see about the rest of the way. But for at least for right now, I got the Buccaneers winning 26-10. So not much more to say. MF, our Zonk game of the week, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New York Giants. Your boy, the Gamba Ghoul, now the quarterback of the Giants.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see Tommy DeVito get the opportunity. And you remember when Tommy actually took over, the Giants went on a nice run towards the end of the year. Unfortunately, it was too little too late. They didn't make it. But boy, did he put some energy in New York when he took over. Giants are hoping that maybe he brings that good luck charm yet again. I don't know. I think this might be too little too late. I kind of feel like Tampa is just too good. So I think Tampa's going to win. But yeah, man, Tommy DeVito became a beloved character for the Pat McAfee crew, especially because of the Italian style that they brought. And yeah, we'll see if he becomes the Italian stallion again, like he was last season. If he gets going, who knows? But I do believe that. But I do believe Tampa should win this game. So, Florio, back to you.
All right, we got one early game left, and we stay in the NFC East. The Dallas Cowboys squaring off against the Washington Commanders, FedEx Field, Landover, Maryland. On Fox, Joe Davis, Greg Olson, Pam Oliver on the call for this one. Washington opening up as a 10.5-point favorite. First meeting of the season between these NFC East rivals. Dallas does lead the all-time regular season series overwhelmingly, 78-46 with 2 ties. Dallas won both meetings last year, including a 38-10 beatdown in Washington last year. Washington last beat Dallas at home in 2022. Final score on that one was 26-6. So I believe we go back to the top and with me. So I will start off on this one. Our final early game of week number 12. And without any further ado, here we go. At 3-7, the Dallas Cowboys are looking to avoid their first 6-game losing streak since 2015, when they finished that season 4-12. To do so, they will have to beat their former defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn, and several former teammates, Tyler Biadasz, Dorrance Armstrong, and Dante Fowler Jr. among them, who joined the Washington Commanders in the offseason. The Cowboys have beaten Washington in 5 of the last 6 meetings, but bring a different team that will be without at least 4 opening day starters because of injuries. Though Pro Bowl cornerback Deron Bland with a foot injury is expected to make his season debut. The Commanders need to get their run game untracked after 2 lackluster showings against stout run defenses in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. If they do so, it unlocks their offense. In Washington's 7 wins, it has averaged 5.2 yards a carry, but in the 4 losses, it's 3.5. It's not just about Brian Robinson Jr., who averages 4.7 yards a rush and wins. It's also about the quarterback runs. In the 7 wins, Jaden Daniels has rushed for 5.3 yards a carry. The good news for Washington, Dallas ranks 24th in yards per carry allowed at 4.7. Cowboys receiver CeeDee Lamb has 106 targets this season, which is tied with the New York Jets' Garrett Wilson for most in the NFL. But he has had only 1 game with 100-plus receiving yards after 8 such games in 2023. Overwhelming FPI for Washington, 78%. I think it's the biggest FPI of the week. 78% going with the Washington Commanders. I'm going with the Washington Commanders. I think they're going to smash the Cowboys here. 37-13, Washington all over Dallas. And a much-needed get-right game for Washington after 2 tough luck losses against Pittsburgh and Philly. So, Commanders smash the Cowboys 37-13. MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm totally in agreement. Washington was that team that everybody was all like thinking, oh my God, could this team become like the best team in the NFC? And then all of a sudden they fell apart and fell bad. It almost made us cause to pause. We're like, wait a minute, what is this? And now all of a sudden you start to think, maybe was the hype really worth it? Was it too big, too soon, too fast? Well, I don't know. We'll wait and see. But yeah, I do believe Washington should win this one. Again, I'm not high on anything that Dallas has brought to the table, and nothing more to say. So yeah, Michael Bullock is yours.
Yeah, I'm going with the Commanders as well. I do expect them to bounce back, and yeah, they're going to destroy the Dallas Cowboys because I just don't believe in anything that Dallas brings right now. So, Washington wins. It's yours, Florio.
All right, and now we move on to the late games. We only have 3. We have 1 4:05 game on CBS and 2 4:25 games on Fox. We start with the 4:05 game on CBS. This game comes in as our number 7 game of the week. It features the Denver Broncos squaring off against the Las Vegas Raiders, Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. And on the call for that game will be Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, and Melanie Collins. And the spread favors Denver. Denver opening up as a 6-point favorite. Second meeting already between these two. They've already met once before. That was in Denver, and Denver won that one 34-18. So they cut into the Raiders series lead of 72-54. It's now 72-54 with 2 ties now. And the Broncos have won 4 straight. Actually, no. Well, hold on. I apologize. I read the wrong line. They snapped a long losing streak to the Raiders. The Raiders had won 8 straight meetings. They had swept the Broncos 4 straight years before Denver finally got them in Denver earlier this time around. So the Broncos, ever since the Raiders switched to move to Vegas, the Broncos have not won in Vegas. They are 0-4 at Allegiant Stadium so far. The Broncos have not beaten the Raiders on the road. Boy, I got to do some digging here. The last time the Broncos beat the Raiders on the road, you got to go back to 2015, their Super Bowl season, when they went into Oakland and beat the then Oakland Raiders 16-10. So not much more to say here. MF, I believe we start with you on this one. Number 7 game of the week, the Denver Broncos and the Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant. Denver already with a victory over the Raiders. They smashed them 34-18 in Denver earlier this season. They look for the sweep. It's been a minute since they swept the Raiders in the same season, and they have not done so since. If they win this game, it'll be the first time since 2014 that the Denver Broncos swept the Raiders in the season series. So, and to be honest, I think they got a really good chance to do it. I mean, look what they did to Atlanta last week. My goodness.
Yeah. And not only that, but remember, the Raiders did not look good against the Miami Dolphins. Did not look good against them at all. Yeah, I definitely feel like Denver's going to win it. I totally agree with everything that you just said there, Florio. I feel like they're just a better team. They'll eke it out, but yeah. So give me the Denver Broncos to win, and nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm going with the Denver Broncos to beat the Raiders as well. I mean, so there's really nothing more to say. It's yours.
All right. Bear with me a moment. Okay, I think I got it. Okay. The Broncos are 0-4. Excuse me. The Broncos are 0-4 in Las Vegas since the Raiders made the move to Vegas. To end that trend, it might come down to how well the Broncos offense closes the deal in the red zone. Broncos rookie quarterback Bo Nix is coming off the best game of his young career, 307 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an almost 85% completion percentage in that impressive win over the Atlanta Falcons. The Broncos are 5 of 15 in red zone trips in their 5 losses as compared to 16 out of 21 in their 6 wins. The Raiders have allowed offenses to score touchdowns on at least 75% of their red zone trips in 4 of the last 6 games. If the Broncos can show some efficiency on offense and avoid the turnovers that have plagued them in past losses in Las Vegas, they should end their Vegas losing streak. The Raiders already have the worst ranked running game, 75 yards a game in the NFL. And their top 2 running backs, Alexander Mattison with an ankle and Zamir White with a quad, missed practice on Wednesday. So Raider Nation turns its eyes to 10-year vet Amir Abdullah, who has rushed for 82 yards and a touchdown on 17 carries this season. Rookie Dylan Laube, who has 1 carry, no yards, and a lost fumble. And Sincere McCormick, who is on the practice squad and has appeared in 1 game in his career. Oh, and Denver boasts the 6th best run defense in the league. Abdullah simply said, "I'm ready." Abdullah, who rushed for 42 yards, his highest total since 2017, and a touchdown on 5 carries at Denver in Week 5. The Raiders have lost 7 straight to rookie starting quarterbacks since 2020. That is the longest active streak in the NFL. Slight FPI for Denver. It's not overwhelming. It's only 56%, but it's good enough for me. I'm going with the Denver Broncos to win this game as well. I think they're going to keep this streak going. 24-10. Give me Denver to defeat Las Vegas. And with that being said, gentlemen, we move on now to America's game of the week. And the game of the week on the NFC side of the ledger, a renewal of one of the greatest NFC rivalries of all time. The San Francisco 49ers squaring off against the Green Bay Packers from the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. You know who's working this if it's America's game of the week. Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, Aaron Andrews, Tom Rinaldi. Green Bay now opening as a 5.5-point favorite. We'll get to why in just a moment. Some developing situations came out of that today, as a matter of fact. Regular season series, regular season series, 34-28 with a tie. Last year they met in the divisional playoff in San Francisco. San Francisco won 24-21. Their last regular season meeting was 2021 in San Francisco. Green Bay won 30-28. Last meeting in Green Bay was 2018. San Francisco winning that game, or I should say Green Bay winning that game by a score of 33-30. And 49ers have not, the 49ers last regular season win in Green Bay was in 2012, opening day in 2012. As a matter of fact, that was week 1 in 2012. 49ers won 30-22 at Lambeau. Overall, it was the divisional playoff, January of 2022 on that snowy night at Lambeau when Green Bay stole it 13-10, or San Francisco rather stole it 13-10. So, Michael Bullock, I believe we started with you. It's America's game of the week. And the game of the week on the NFC side of the ledger, the San Francisco 49ers and the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. But the big developing situation, no Brock Purdy and no Joey Bosa for San Francisco.
You mean Nick Bosa?
Nick Bosa, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Nick Bosa's out, and so is Brock Purdy. That's
yeah, Brandon Allen is now going to be the starter. So yeah, that's not good if you're the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, this team, they've been dealing with injuries all throughout the season, and you're thinking once they got McCaffrey back, they're looking like a team again, and then this happens. So I just don't know. I mean, it's tough to make especially we don't know what we're going to expect to see out of Brandon Allen, and I don't know. And if you're the Green Bay Packers, this is the opportunity to take advantage of a situation like this. So I don't know. This is tough, but I'm actually going to go with the Green Bay Packers. I mean, if Purdy and Bosa were in there, I would say the 49ers, but I'm actually going to go with the Green Bay Packers to win this game. So it's yours, Florio.
Yes, sir. Give me a moment here. Okay. The 49ers are still banged up. And like I said, the 49ers are still banged up, but their chances of slowing down Packers quarterback Jordan Love and company took a big hit this week with defensive end Nick Bosa ruled out with left hip and oblique injuries. San Francisco simply doesn't have a reliable pass rush when Bosa is not on the field. With Bosa on the field, the Niners have a 33% pressure rate and an 8% sack rate. Without Bosa, those numbers drop to 18% pressure rate and 2% sack rate, both of which would rank last in the NFL. As if that wasn't enough, the 49ers will also be without starting quarterback Brock Purdy, who is dealing with a right shoulder injury. That should make for quite the uphill climb in a game San Francisco desperately needs to win to stay in the NFC playoff picture. Packers quarterback Jordan Love was a perfect 6 for 6 last week against the Chicago Bears on throws of 15 or more yards downfield, 4 which went to receiver Christian Watson, and he's in the top 5 in the NFL in air yards per attempt. But the 49er defense has been strong against deep throws. According to ESPN research, quarterbacks facing the 49ers have the lowest total QBR and second lowest completion percentage on such throws, with 3 touchdown passes to 7 interceptions. The Packers are 5-0 this season against teams with records of 500 or worse. They're only 2-3 against teams with winning records. It's a slight FPI for Green Bay, 55% going with the Green Bay Packers, and I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers to win this game as well. It's tough to score it. I mean, I initially had it 27-24, but I think Green Bay actually might win this thing a little more comfortably. So I'm actually going to go 27-10. Green Bay defeats San Francisco. The Purdy and Bosa injuries are going to be massive, massive differences. 27-10, Green Bay defeats San Francisco. MF, no Brock Purdy, no Nick Bosa, and you're going to Lambeau? Oh boy, I don't know.
Nah, this is easy. It's Green Bay. Going into it, I probably would have said it's a toss up that maybe the Niners could eke it out. Not now. I just don't see it. I think it's just too much for the Niners to overcome. Like I said, I believe it's gonna be Green Bay's to win, and I think they're gonna do it. And to let you know, Anthony, the FPI actually is increased. You had it at 55%. It's now 57% for the Green Bay Packers. So, yeah.
Okay.
To me, it is a comfortable win for the Packers. I think they're going to win this one 27-17. And I got Green Bay winning over San Fran. So, it's yours.
Okay. Well, I there actually was some other things I actually did forget to mention. Now that I noticed it here, I did miss something here. These teams went head to head in the divisional round last season. San Francisco winning that one 24-21 en route to the Super Bowl. Niners have been struggling more this year though, and they come into this at 5-5 against the Packers 7-3. But interestingly enough, they have the second best offense in the league from a yardage perspective. They're producing 399 yards a game, and they've also scored well, 25 points a game, tied for 8th in the league with Green Bay. And they've been good on defense as well from a yardage perspective, allowing 302 yards a game, 6th in the NFL, but they've conceded 22 points a game, tied for 16th. Key figure for Green Bay, Josh Jacobs, 838 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, averaging about 4.8 yards a carry. Jordan Love has been pretty good this year, 2,081 yards, 16 touchdowns, 11 picks, 62% completion mark. Coming off a good game against Chicago, 261 yards with a TD and a pick, and a completion percentage of 66%. And I'm not going to mention Brock Purdy because obviously he's injured, but the production, though. Purdy has 2,613 passing yards, 6th in the league, 13 touchdowns, and has done so in 10 games, one less than 4 of the 5 players ahead of him, but he does have the 8 interceptions as well. So definitely keep an eye on that. We'll see how that plays out with Brandon Allen. So, all right, now let's move on to the other 425 matchup. And this is the other one. This is the comment game here, our commenter here. I know he's been chomping at the bits here, so here we go. It's the Arizona Cardinals squaring off against the Seattle Seahawks from Lumen Field in Seattle. This game on Fox as well as part of the America's Game of the Week. On the call for this one will be, as soon as it loads up here, Adam Amin, Mark Sanchez, and Christina Pink. Arizona opening up as, I'm sorry to say this, but Arizona's only opening up as a 1-point favorite. It's only 1 point in favor of Arizona. First meeting of the season between these NFC West division rivals. Seattle leads the all-time series 27-22 with a tie. And I hate to say this, but the Seahawks have actually won the last 5 meetings in a row against Arizona. Last year in Seattle, Seattle won 20-10. Seattle's won the last 2 years at home. The Cardinals have not won in Seattle since 2021, not that long ago. 23-13 was the final in that one. So I believe we're back to the top in me. So let's get into this one. Our final late game before we get to our I'll call it the Hollywood primetime doubleheader. You'll know why in a minute. Sunday will be telling how the Arizona Cardinals handle coming off their bye week after 4 straight wins could set the tone for the home stretch. Thus far, players say the focus has been there at practice, but how that translates to the field is yet to be seen. With a win over Seattle, the Cardinals will be in the undisputed driver's seat of the NFC West, with another matchup against Seattle coming in 2 weeks in Arizona. The Seahawks' offensive line was a glaring weakness over their first 9 games, but it had perhaps its best performance of the season in Seattle's win over the 49ers. Abraham Lucas made his season debut at right tackle, and Olu Oluwatimi stepped in at center after Connor Williams' abrupt retirement. The first-place Cardinals, whom Seattle faces twice over the next 3 weeks, rank in the bottom 5 in both pass rush win rate and pressure rate. Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray has lost his last 5 games against Seattle. Another defeat would tie the second longest losing streak by any starting quarterback against the Seahawks in the franchise's history. I think this is the smallest FPI of the week. They give it to Arizona, but it is it's not overwhelming. I'm going to be honest. It's only 54%, but they're going with Arizona to win. And to be honest with you, I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals to win as well. I mean, would I be surprised if Seattle wins? No, certainly wouldn't, especially in Seattle. But there's something about this Cardinal team this year. This Cardinal team, I think it's high time we put some respect on their names and start taking this team seriously. I got Arizona winning. I'm going to say the final score is going to be 28-24, but I got the Arizona Cardinals winning this game. So not much more to say. MF, big game in the NFC West. Arizona and Seattle. If Arizona wins, they could very well be in the driver's seat in this division if they win.
Absolutely, and I do believe that that's going to happen. Look, you're right. This was exactly what we were talking about. And remember what I said earlier to that fan. I like what Kyler Murray's been doing lately. I'm definitely loving James Conner. I think he's done an incredible job. He's always been a good running back. And then Marvin Harrison Jr., in my opinion, right now could be the offensive rookie of the year. That's how good he's been doing. Maserati Marv has been killing it. He's been amazing. The defense, there's been some leaky holes on that defense, and that's the one thing I'm a little concerned about. Especially when you got guys like DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, you got, that crew, Geno Smith. That is the one area where I'm a little concerned about for Arizona, especially going to Seattle in Seattle. But I do believe Murray will make the plays. If they give it to Harrison early and he starts eating, I think it's going to be a great afternoon for the Arizona Cardinals. I agree with you, Anthony. This is not going to be this is a game that's not going to be for the faint of heart. This is going to be really tight, but I think Arizona will get the job done. I think they'll get there. They'll win this one. 31-28 is my score. Arizona wins it. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals as well. So there's really nothing more to say. It's your Florio.
All right, gentlemen, 2 games left. How about this? Prime time. The 2 primetime games are going to be in the same stadium. And I'm going to call this the Hollywood doubleheader. As the overall NFC game of the week, which has now been cross-flexed over to our side after a last-minute decision we made last night. So this is now our number 2 game of the week. These next 2 games are our top 2 games of the week. How about that? Hollywood doubleheader. First up, our number 2 game of the week, the NFC game of the week, the Philadelphia Eagles squaring off against the Los Angeles Rams, SoFi Stadium, Inglewood, California. Sunday Night Football on NBC. You already know who's working that as always. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, and Melissa Stark. Philadelphia opening up as a 3-point favorite. Philadelphia leads the regular season series 22-18 with a tie. They met last year in Los Angeles. Philadelphia won that game 23-14. Rams last beat the Eagles in 2020 in Philadelphia, 37-19. The Rams' last home win against the Eagles was back in 2004 when they were the St. Louis Rams, 20-7. And the last time the Rams beat the Eagles as the Los Angeles Rams, you got to go all the way back to 1977 when they shut them out 20-0. So I believe it's MF who starts this one, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. MF, it's our number 2 game. We made the decision for the cross flex because of a lackluster week on our side of the ledger. This more than makes up for it. I'm glad we had an opportunity to cross flex this one, and I'm glad we got it. Very good number 2 game of the week. The NFC game of the week. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Los Angeles Rams, SoFi Sunday night. Who you got?
I got the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles have been flying high lately. They've been dominating at 8-2. Look, I don't know what it is about this Eagle team, but every time they get themselves into these type of situations, they just can't figure it out. They know what to do. They handle the situations. They've played so many times, and I gotta say it. I think it's gonna happen again. Fly, Eagles, fly. I think they're gonna win this game. It's not gonna be pretty. It's not gonna be great. It's not gonna be that dominating performance, but I do believe the Eagles will figure it out. They'll get the job done, and they will knock off the Rams. Michael Bullock, it is yours.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. I'm gonna go with the Eagles right now. They are just so riding high right now, and I expect that to continue. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles as well. It's yours for you.
All right. Just bear with me as this thing loads up here. Very, very slow. I'm sorry. Okay. While the Eagles are entering this at 8-2 and atop the NFC East, it has not been an entirely smooth season for them. They have won their last 6 games, but those include 5 and 4-point wins over the likes of the lowly Jacksonville Jaguars and Cleveland Browns. And they're only 3-point favorites here. They're only favored by 3 to they're 3-point favorites here against the 5-5 LA Rams. A big discussion around Philadelphia has been the play of quarterback Jalen Hurts. He's thrown for 2,197 yards, 12 touchdowns, with 5 interceptions and a 69% completion mark, and has also rushed for 417 yards and 11 touchdowns. But his last 5 games have seen him all throw for fewer than 250 yards. Meanwhile, Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford is coming off a 295-yard, 4-touchdown performance against Bullock's Patriots in Foxborough last week, and has thrown for 2,557 yards with 13 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and a 66.5% completion mark to date. And whoa, okay. This thing's always acting kerplooey on me. All right, here we go. I think I got it. All right, the Rams are coming off only their second game of the season without a turnover. After having an NFL low 2 takeaways from weeks 1 to 7, the Eagles lead the NFL with 11 takeaways since week 8. According to research, Philadelphia leads the NFL with 43 points off a turnover since week 8. The Eagles have leaned heavily on running back Saquon Barkley, who leads the NFL with 1,347 scrimmage yards. Players are expecting defenses to focus more on Philly's ground game down the stretch, which would put more of the onus on quarterback Jalen Hurts in the passing game. A key matchup will be Brown versus Rams pass defense that has yielded 18 touchdown passes this season. Brown's 88.3 receiving yards a game ranks 4th behind only Houston's Nico Collins, 103.5, Cincinnati's Jamar Chase at 96, and Minnesota's Justin Jefferson, 91.2. The Eagles have had 150 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns in 5 straight games. That's the longest such streak since the 1988 Cincinnati Bengals, when they had 5 straight. Philadelphia, FPI favorite here. Not overwhelming, but decent. 59% going with Philadelphia. I'm going with Philadelphia to win this game as well. My final score, I'm going to say 27-20. Philadelphia defeats the Rams and steals one at SoFi on Sunday night. One last game to go, and finally we have a show where our game is the main event. Literally. Our game of the week, the number one game on our side of the ledger. This is our game of the week. Monday Night Football on ESPN, simulcast on ABC. Of course, the Mannings and Bill Belichick on ESPN2. 8:15 p.m. kickoff, Monday Night Football. Our game of the week, brother versus brother. John Harbaugh and his Baltimore Ravens squaring off against brother Jim Harbaugh and the Los Angeles Chargers, also from SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Lisa Salters, they will have the call. Spread favors the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore opening up as a 3-point favorite. Series history favors Baltimore. Regular season is 9-5 in favor of Baltimore. Baltimore's won the last 2 meetings. Last year in Los Angeles, Baltimore won in LA 20-10. The Chargers last beat the Ravens in the AFC wildcard playoff in January of 2019 in Baltimore. Chargers won 23-17. Chargers have not beaten the Ravens at home since 2011 when they were the San Diego Chargers, and they smashed the Ravens in that game, 34-14. So, and the Ravens last win at the Chargers was, of course, last year, 20-10. Michael Bullock, you started off. It's our final game of the night. You lead it off. Our game of the week, Ravens, Chargers, brother versus brother. John Harbaugh and Baltimore against Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. What says you?
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I mean, it was months ago when Michigan won the national championship and Jim Harbaugh was the coach. Who was the one that congratulated him?
Brother John.
Yep. He was there, and now here it is. Months later in November, Jim's back in the NFL, and they're going at it again. So, but this time, of course, with brother Jim with the LA Chargers. So, this should be a really good one here, but I think it's going to be John Harbaugh who once again gets the best of his brother Jim. So I got the Baltimore Ravens winning this one. It's yours, Florio.
All right, very good. Okay. The 7-3 Chargers are having a great season. That's maybe not attracting as much attention as it should. They have won 4 straight, and they're second in the AFC West to the 9-1 Kansas City Chiefs. And a crucial part of that is the defense, which leads the NFL in points allowed a game at 14.5. A key force there is the pass rushing ability of the linebacking core with Tuli, Tua Piloto, Bud Dupree, and Khalil Mack having the 3 highest sack totals on the team. 7 for Tua Piloto, 5 for Dupree, and 4.5 for Mack. For the 7-4 Ravens, who entered this as 3-point favorites, they've long been known, but they're actually in the bottom 10 of the league in both points allowed and yards allowed per game to date. Their key has been their passing offense with quarterback Lamar Jackson, second in the league with 2,876 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions, and completing 67% of his passes. And Jackson also has 584 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, averaging 6.1 yards a carry, and is a strong contender to repeat as NFL MVP. And rightfully so. Of course, as we all know, yeah, I'm loading up now. Okay. Whoa. Okay. Lamar Jackson has been the quarterback. Lamar Jackson has been the best quarterback in Monday Night Football history. And the reason and that's because in 8 games, he has thrown 20 touchdown passes. That's right, 20 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions for a QBR of 86, which is the highest among quarterbacks with at least 5 starts. The Chargers have been the stingiest defense in the NFL, though, allowing an NFL best 14.5 points a game. The lowest scoring average after 11 weeks since the 2019 New England Patriots, when they were allowing only 10.8 points a game. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert is playing some of the best football of his career. He is on a streak of 246 pass attempts without an interception, which is the longest in team history. He also has 6 touchdowns on passes of 20-plus yards downfield, tied for the most in the NFL. This matchup could be in his favor as the Ravens have the NFL's worst pass defense, allowing 284.5 yards a game. Lamar Jackson at 8.3 and Justin Herbert at 13 lead the NFL in touchdown to interception ratio. This will be the 3rd instance in the last 20 seasons in which the outright leaders in that mark have met in week 12 or later. The FPI goes with Baltimore, only 60%. That's 60% going with Baltimore. And I am going to go with the Baltimore Ravens to win this game as well. I'm going to say 24-17. The Baltimore Ravens defeat the Los Angeles Chargers and what I believe should be a very fun game on Monday night. I'm very much looking forward to it. Brother versus brother. So not much more to say. MF. Brother versus brother. One more time. We had it in Super Bowl 47. The Ravens and the 49ers in the Superdome. That went from a dud to a 5-star classic, as we all know. And it was Brother John who got the big win that night. And here we go again. Brother versus brother. Our game of the week. Phil Sims to my Jim Nance to close it out here tonight. Do that thing I like. Hello, friends.
Yeah, and this is going to be a good one. The Ravens right now kind of feel like they're the ones that would be the more dominant team. You know, you got the dual threat of Lamar Jackson. You got the power running of Derrick Henry. And then the receiving core could be good. However, defensively, this is where the Chargers are actually pretty good. You know, they're going to be able to challenge Lamar and Derrick and everything else. Offensively, can Justin Herbert take it to that next step? Can he make the key plays and make the moments where it's going to count more than anything else? If he does, then the Chargers have a shot. I just don't think they will. I got the Baltimore Ravens winning this game, and I think they're going to win this pretty close, but I do believe they'll get the job done. So, Michael Bullock, you got final say tonight.
Well, he actually led off, so that will put the bow on this Week 12 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. MF, hit us up with tomorrow night. I believe we got the Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night. Is that correct?
It is back. Yes, Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night. And we got to sell the good one. We got, of course, SmackDown Live. Big week that we did on that one. And then, of course, after that, actually, I do have an MLW show that's actually coming down. And boys, whoo! If you get to see the fight card, oh my effing God, is all I can say. It's going to be wild. This MLW show is nuts, to say the very least. So, 10:30 on Braves Fan 95, and yeah, Anthony.
Fletch, quickly, do you want to describe the folks? Because there are probably some people are probably like, wait a minute, how come you guys aren't talking about AEW?
We will get into that tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm not
MF,
doing it.
MF
Okay.
will have a
All
statement.
right. I just wanted to.
No,
MF is going to have, and I believe, with all due respect, you should lead off the show with that disclaimer.
I will. I feel
right.
like I'm not gonna. I will make a formal statement about it tomorrow night, Bullock. This is not the show or the place to do it.
All right.
Exactly.
All right. And
Right.
and like you said, you should lead off with it.
So
Yes. Before we get into the content and especially the developing situation that came out of tonight's SmackDown.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we'll get into it. We'll get into it all. 10:30 tomorrow night.
All right.
Florio, it's yours.
Okay. So you heard it. Tomorrow night, 10:30. Braves Fan 95, Cerebral Smack Talk, Friday Night SmackDown. And MF will cover that MLW show as part of his Mikey's Mindset. And he will also have a special announcement to lead off the show tomorrow night. And all I can say is brace yourselves, friends. That's all I'm going to say right now. That'll be tomorrow. And then Monday night, we got Ridiculously Raw, Monday Night Raw. And in a special Tony's Take, I will be previewing TNA Turning Point, which is a special event that will be exclusively on the TNA Plus app. MF, you talk about that fight card that MLW had. I see that, and I raise you with this card for Turning Point. Wait till you hear this card for Turning Point. I can honestly say it may be the most excited I've ever been for a TNA Plus event. That's how good it is. Wait till you hear this card on Monday night. Tuesday night, we have a very special edition of what we're going to call this Tuesday Night Madness. We are going to review NXT, and we are also going to preview the WWE Survivor Series War Games pay-per-view. That'll be on Tuesday night. That'll be at 10 p.m., immediately following NXT. Wednesday night at 10:30, it will be our annual football feast. And we are going to do some big-time feasting. We are going to preview the 3 NFL games on Thanksgiving Day. We're also going to preview the Black Friday game as well. And we are also going to preview we will also preview Rivalry Week in college football, Week 14. All top 25 games. We'll get into that on Wednesday. And then from there, and then on Thursday, we're taking Thursday off for Thanksgiving. We're also going to be taking Friday off as well for Black Friday. And then after that, we will next be with you on next Saturday night following Survivor Series, as we are going to have a special Saturday night edition of NFL Friday. It'll be, in this case, NFL Saturday, Week 13 edition of this NFL show. We'll have a quick recap of the Thanksgiving and Black Friday games, and then next week, notable games that we're going to get into next week. And I'll tell you right now, we got a much better slate of games than a far better slate of games than this week. The Los Angeles Chargers against the Atlanta Falcons. Good sleeper matchup there. The Pittsburgh Steelers against the Cincinnati Bengals. We got the Arizona Cardinals against the Minnesota Vikings. Good one there. The Los Angeles Rams against the New Orleans Saints. That's somewhat of a sleeper game. Game of the week next week. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Baltimore Ravens. Ooh, is that going to be fun? And we also have an equally fun Sunday night football game. The San Francisco 49ers against my Buffalo Bills. Man, is that going to be fun. And we'll get into all that next Saturday night. So with all that, that'll do it for this. So until tomorrow night, For the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF's channel, BraceFan95, this is Anthony Florio here. For good old MF Michael Fletcher, for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, always and forever, our First Lady, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Saturday. And until tomorrow night, for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching the Week 12 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday, right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio. So long, and bye, everybody. Bye.